Hi, my name is Dan, and welcome to the Real Dad review of Disney's Descendants trilogy. There are 4 movies in this universe, but the first 3 act as their own story with a very clear conclusion, so I'm going to be looking at those 3 holistically. If you have seen them, let me know what did you think, and if not, stick around and I'll let you know if it is worth your time. With that said, let's get real and talk about it. Now, as a point of reference for this review, before I get started, these movies, primarily the second and the third one, are on constant loop in my house. Right now, the third one is actually playing. My daughter adores these movies. My son enjoys certain parts as well, so that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. As a backstory for the movies, the first one was released in 2015, and then each one after that came out 2 years apart. The movie concept itself is very interesting, where you have the offspring of Disney's villains, and they are exiled off to the Isle of the Lost, and then you have the offspring of the heroes of Disney, and they live in the kingdom of Auradon. There is a new king, Ben, who is the son of Belle and Beast, and he wants change. So he invites 4 of the VKs, which are known as the villain kids from the Isle, and he invites them to attend the school there, Auradon Prep. That's basically the plot. I'm keeping it broad for a reason, but that is the setup. So, how is the trilogy for both adults and kids? Let's get this started talking about the good. So to start things off, I actually think that the concept for these movies are very strong. It's actually where I would like to see a darker tone version of it, maybe with a slightly bigger budget, so that we could see how a few of these stories would play out, because there is quite a bit to explore here. So I do enjoy just the idea of having these Disney villains and heroes, but they're the kid versions of it. You know what I mean? There's something interesting about that I really like. Along the same lines, the characters in these films specifically are very likable. The 4 main ones, the VKs, they have a very nice presence together. They have a very nice chemistry. So you do get invested in the story that's being told. There are even side characters that you wouldn't even think. For example, one of the sons of Dopey, the dwarf, is in it, and he has a likable charm and a charisma to him. So you overall buy into the journey and the relationships that these characters are on. And as a trilogy themselves, it works. As standalone films, they do catch you up here and there, so they also work as well for the most part. And the last big thing that I could say here as a positive is that these movies have surprisingly catchy and well done musical numbers. The music specifically in the second and the third film, they're great. They play into the characters and the stories very well. They're not just random stoppages of the story and then a breakout into song. It plays into the plot and it carries it forward, which is very nice. The songs pop. There are some bangers on it. Honestly, these are songs that when we're driving, they're on in the car, and honestly, we're all bopping to them. So if nothing else, the music in these movies are very well done. While that is the case, there are also a few more things to talk about. So with that, let's move on to the bad. So I would say as a trilogy, the second and the third film definitely carry. The first film is really just a setup for these follow-up films. So the quality of the first one isn't quite on par with the rest. While it is still watchable, in my opinion, it is definitely a few steps below the second and third one, but it is important as the setup movie. Along the same lines, the CGI and the green screen is very noticeable, very spotty, and very just, I don't want to say amateurish, but you could tell that there were budget constraints, or the budget, which I did see each movie had around $20 million. There are either constraints within the visuals or the budget just kind of went elsewhere, but you could definitely tell that characters are on sets and it's behind a green screen. The water is a big pool. It's very noticeable in that way. So if that's something that takes you out of the experience, just keep that in mind. And honestly, the last 2 things that I'll talk about here, while I did say in my positives that the characters are very likable, the acting is sometimes very wooden, and also it has that cheese factor, but it's kind of cheesy in the way that you're not sure if it's the way that it's intended to be or if it's just how the acting is. So don't go into it expecting anything A worthy or award worthy, but you know, the characters do the best with what they're given. I could say that. And the last thing, this might be from just my perspective as an adult and also as a father, but there are a couple of just plot points that are kind of confusing, specifically in the third one. As an example, and I'll keep it spoiler free, there is a father-daughter dynamic in the third film that is kind of confusing. You figure out that they are father-daughter about halfway through the film. So as someone who is a father, I looked at the first interaction with these two characters prior to knowing that they're father and daughter, and it kind of begged the question of like, what were they going for with that first interaction, because it was a little bit strange and off-putting. So I'm not sure what they were going for there, but that was just something that kind of threw me off. All right, so I mean, overall, The Descendants is fun. It's a harmless set of films for the family. My daughter loves them. My son loves them, who's back there playing. It has an interesting premise, and there are definitely a couple of universal themes that pop up that kids can latch onto. If nothing else, I would recommend it just for the music alone. So as for individual scores, I would give the first one a 6. The second one I would give a 7, and the third one I would give around a 6.5. So that averages to a 6.5 for the entire trilogy, which is pretty good in my opinion. So I said in the intro, if you've seen it, let me know what you thought about it. Or just let me know what is your favorite Disney villain in general and why. As always, thanks for watching The Real Dad Review, where I keep it real, one reel at a time. Take care.